So very good morning, everybody. So for the people joining from India, yeah. So I think most of you are from India. So very good afternoon. So today the session is about the basics of communication in the AutoSAR in by layer wise. So this is the thing. So I'm just sharing my desktop. Just let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Cool. So let me. Yeah. Cool. So we'll start with the session. So today's agenda will be like, yeah, a short welcome, which we have already done, and a short introduction about the participants and the expectations. For the newcomers, yes, we have some do's and don'ts of the sessions, whatever we're conducting, and the basics of communication AutoSAR is the today's topic. So which will continue for the thing. So before I start the session, so I have actually got one other account wherein we can actually, there is no time limitation for the WebEx. So after this first session, which is like, which will end at 10:45 or 10:50 in my time. So apart from the meeting request, what are you have got for part two? So that meeting will be cancelled and I'll be sending a new request. So you can join that, and there we don't have any time limitations. So where we can continue there. Okay. So I think we can start with this. So start introduction. Yeah. So in this meeting, we have all kinds of participants. Some are beginners, some are proficients, and some are experts in the topics. So, and then the basic expectation, what you can set from this session is you will get the basic know-how, and we will go with some live examples or real-time experiences from everybody who is participating. And then in modules, since today we are talking about the communication, wherein we'll be going a little bit deeper with respect to the CAN communication protocol. So we will be coming across the various communication modules, whatever is listed, you can see on the screen. And in general, yes, we will also have some tips for the self-learning. So that will be the today's agenda. So coming to the do's and don'ts, yes, please consider all the participants as beginners. So I will be doing the same thing. So including myself, we are all beginners in learning. And during the session, you can ask any basic questions. Don't hesitate. Only the learning will be complete if you are only putting forward your, even however the simple is the question, however the stupid is the question. So please do not hesitate to ask. And then whenever our understanding is wrong, just be proud to accept it, and let's please accept that you are learning something new today from the others. And then coming to the don'ts, do not judge any participants based on the questions and answers. So nobody is an expert here. So it is okay. We have to accept everybody's questions, and we have to see what we can solve those questions, how we can solve those questions. And do not mind about others participants. So when you are putting forward your question, please do not think what other participants will think if I ask this question. Just shoot out your questions, and we will see if there are answers. Yes, we will discuss. If there are no answers, yes, there is something new which we can again put it as the next topic for your learning. And in this sessions, we will not do any exaggerations. We'll try to stick on the facts. We'll stick on to the actual facts and challenges. So we'll try to be very basic in throughout the session. And do not mention any name of your organization, which organization you are working, or which OEM you are working with, or which are the stack you are working. So please do not disclose any of those informations. This is because that will be the general regulation for most of the employees. So we are not allowed to do so. So please do not bring in any names. So I think with this, we can just start with our session. So again, basics of communication in AutoSAR. So it's not an expert's view, it's just a developer's understanding. So from whatever the experience we have learned in the past few years, so we are trying to bring it here, and let's see. So mostly this session will be really helpful, and obviously the content of the session will be completely which we might not find outside. So but let's see so how good it will be. And with respect to the basic software layer, as you have seen in the last session, we have gone through the AutoSAR layer session. So we have discussed about different layers in AutoSAR, and then when it comes to the basic software layer, we have the MCAL, microcontroller abstraction layer, ECU abstraction layer, service layer, and the complex device drivers, and then the runtime environment and the application layer. So generally any communication or any message coming to our ECU will be flowing across these layers, and finally it will be reaching the application. And then if application wants to transmit, so it will flow in the reverse direction and it will reach the bus, communication bus. So this is what you will find in all the other materials available in the internet. So I'm not going to spend much time here. So, and now let's discuss like what are all the different communication modules. So when I talk about communication in AutoSAR, so we have different types of communication protocols: CAN, LIN, Ethernet, FlexRay, all those things. Okay, but in general, whatever is the communication protocol you are actually talking about, so it will have this similar architecture or the layered architecture when it comes to AutoSAR. So in the MCAL layer, you will have the particular bus driver. So here, whenever we say bus, let us call it as CAN, let us call it as Ethernet, let us call it as FlexRay, let us call it as LIN. So in the MCAL layer, you will have the CAN driver, and we talk about CAN. And in the ECU abstraction layer, you will have the respective transceiver driver. And there is something, for example, if you have some application specific ICs, then you will have a driver for that in the ECU abstraction layer. And in the service layer, you will have the PDU router and the respective bus state manager, respective bus network manager, and the generic NM. And then you will have also the TP, wherever we want to use it for segments which are more than the allowed data length. We will have the TP protocol there, transfer protocol, and then we'll have the communication module. And above this, yes, we will have the RTE, which will be actually helping to take this information from the BSW service layer to the application modules. So this is the general communication module structure, how they are spread across different layers irrespective of whichever the communication protocol it is. So now let us actually try to adapt the same thing, like whatever we are seeing in this picture, let's try to adapt it to the CAN. So when we talk about CAN, like we discussed in the MCAL layer, we'll have the CAN driver. And when it goes to the ECU abstraction layer, you have the CAN transceiver driver, and then driver for CAN ASIC. ASIC is nothing but the application specific integrated circuit. So not every project should have this, so it is not a compulsory thing. So, but if you have any specific application specific implementations for your communication, CAN communication, yes, you will have also the driver in this layer. Then on above that, you will have the CAN interface, CANIF. And then we have the service layer. In the service layer, like we discussed, we will have the CAN specific state manager, CAN specific network manager, CAN specific TP, and then PDUR is a common module, and then COM. So in case of multiplexed messages, you will also have one more module called IPDM. And IPDM is actually again a different concept, which we will have to discuss in a separate session. For now, we will continue with these basic modules. And now the actual, so these are all the information which we will see in, for example, if I talk about the different links which I am providing below. So these are the blocks which will give you this information. So now in this session, we'll try to get into the more details for each of these modules. So for example, if you are the developer who want to configure it, okay, so we will discuss on those things. What are all the things that you will be configuring for each of these modules to achieve the proper CAN communication for your ECU. So that's the today's agenda. So now if you see CAN driver, if you see the basic, what is the functionality of a CAN driver? CAN driver is nothing but it is a MCAL layer module which will be providing the hardware access for the ECU abstraction layer. And so generally the CANIF is the only module which will be talking to the CAN driver. So when it comes to the CAN driver, so what are all the different configurations involved? So what do you configure inside a CAN driver? So inside the CAN configuration, so in general, so whatever all the properties or the configurations we talk about here, okay, this may vary from different stack to stack, but this is the standard which we have taken from the AutoSAR website and the AutoSAR documents. Okay, so if you are using a different stack, the options and the names of these options might be a little bit different. But in general, these are the topics which you will be configuring, or the parameters you will be configuring when you want to configure the CAN driver. So before starting with any of this configuration, the basic thing which I want to say is, when you want to configure the CAN driver, you should have the minimal knowledge about the controller datasheet. So whichever is the controller you are using in your ECU, so that controller will have the configuration related details or the conditions for configuring this CAN driver. So you should have the minimal knowledge about the data sheets of your controller, and then you will get all the details needed for you from the data sheet or your general system architecture, whatever you have done. So let's see what will be the CAN controller related parameters. So there, the first thing which is important is the clock frequency. So at what clock frequency you will be configuring, or you will be running your CAN communication. Okay. So the thing is, here generally the CAN controller will be called as simply as CAN. Whenever in any of your stacks, if you see, it will be just 3 letters as CAN, which means the CAN driver. So once you go into the configuration, you will have to configure the for controllers. For example, let's say you have 4 CAN channels or 2 CAN channels. So then in that case, then you will have 2 CAN controllers. In case of 2 CAN channels, you will have 2 CAN controllers. In case of 4 CAN channels, you will have 4 CAN controllers. So for each CAN controller, you have to configure the clock frequency and the clock reference. So what is the system clock? So you will have to give the inside your hardware what is the system clock. So you'll have to give that reference to this CAN controller, and then the RX and TX processings. So that will be one another configuration, and the timings. For example, at what rate you want to configure the RX and TX processing, and in what way you want to configure it. Like you want to do it as an interrupt mechanism, or you want to execute that RX and TX processing in the by polling mechanism. So similarly is the case for you have to configure whether you want to do the wake up processing by interrupt or wake up processing by polling. Again, similarly for bus off, you have to configure whether you want to have the bus off handling by interrupt handling or polling. So all these things you will be configuring there. And similarly, you will have the physical nodes inside your ECU, and you have to map the respective physical node, whichever is you are using for the respective CAN controller. And then again, you will have to give the RX input selection. And then, for example, if you have implementing the wake up mechanism for the bus, then you will have the ECM module. ECM module will have this the controller related things, and there you have to select the respective wake up source. So this will be the different parameters. So it is not limited to this. With respect to the different stacks you are using, it will have different parameters. Some stacks provide advanced parameters, some advanced functionalities where you can control much more things. And when it comes to, again, functional safety and all those things, you can enable some safety checks, and you can enable some APIs. APIs, we'll see it in the general section. So all those things will be part of this CAN controller section. And then we'll have a separate section for CAN controller baud rate configuration. What will we configure here is the baud rate, and we will have some prescalers for the baud rate, and again controller baud rate in kbps, so kilobits per second. So all these things will be part of the baud rate configuration, and then you can also configure the CAN filter mask based on your requirements. And then the next important configuration for a CAN driver is the CAN hardware object. So here for each CAN controller, whatever we spoke, there will be 2 hardware objects. One thing is for the RX and one thing is for the TX. Okay, so for each hardware object, like we will have, again I mentioned like RX and TX. For RX, we will have to configure the handle type, whether we are using a basic CAN or a full CAN. And then again ID type, like okay, are you using an ID CAN? For example, in case of CAN message ID type, is it a standard? So in case of standard, it will be 11-bit ID, and in case of an extended, it can be 29-bit ID. And in some cases, you can use the mixture. So you will have also option to choose mixed, where you can make use of both standard IDs and also the extended IDs. And then always, since here it is for CAN controller RX hardware object, the object type is RX. And then again, the filter mask, whatever you have configured here, the filter mask, you will have actually give a reference to the filter mask here. And then coming to the TX part, you will have again the same thing, handle type, ID type, and then object type is TX. Okay, so here you will not have the filter mask reference. So that's the configuration for the CAN hardware object. And if you go to the general, you will have to configure the base address. Where do you get this base address is from your data sheets. Okay, and again the system timer reference for the counter, where you have to give the system timer related information. And then you have to also give what type of interrupts they are. They are category 0 interrupts or category 1 interrupts or category 2 interrupts. And the main function periodicity. So in case of CAN driver, if you want to configure it as a cyclic thing, so then you have to give the periodicity here, and also the register addresses that which you will get from the data sheets. So all these will be the configurations when you want to configure the CAN driver. So whatever I have listed is the least, minimal, and the basic, whichever is common across multiple stacks. Okay, so and like I mentioned, if you are using a different stack, the stack manuals will help you with what needs to be configured, and definitely the information on what needs to be filled, the values and the, for example, the register addresses and the base addresses, all these things will be part of your controller document or the controller manual. So with this, yes, we will be done with the CAN driver. So wherever, like now here, we are ready with the CAN driver, which means now for each channel we have configured the CAN controllers and the respective hardware objects. And we have also given the details about, okay, where is this driver running and all those things. And then how are we going to handle the different interrupts. All these informations are given now. So now we are ready with the CAN driver. And now we have to move with the next layer, which is the ECU abstraction layer. And in the ECU abstraction layer, you have CAN transceiver driver. And if you have any specific application specific ICs, then they will have that respective drivers. And then we will have also the CANIF. So now let's start discussing about the CAN transceiver. So CAN transceiver, so what is the main functionality? So it controls the external CAN transceiver hardware. So basically the CAN transceiver driver is responsible for handling the actual external CAN transceiver hardware. So all the commands will be going from this CAN transceiver driver module. And it is also responsible for wake up and sleep process of the CAN bus. So since we are talking about CAN bus and CAN transceiver, so yes, it is in general the responsible for the wake up and sleep process. And the other feature provided by CAN transceiver driver, it will be monitoring the bus situation, and it can give the bus status to the upper level layers. Okay, this is called just nothing but the diagnostic information, which is about the bus status. And the CAN transceiver module configuration is a simple configuration. We don't have too much here, but here, for example, like what we thought, like for each channel, we have to again configure the CAN transceiver channel. So if you have again 4 channels of CAN in your ECU, then you will have to configure 4 CAN transceiver channels. Okay, so and what do you configure here is the hardware variant group. So supported hardware for the CAN driver. So this you will get it again from your ECU design. So there you will have different supported hardwares for CAN drivers. So for each from each controller supplier like NXP or all those things, so they have different supported hardwares for the CAN drivers. So you'll have to mention that hardware variant group here, which will be generally configured whenever you are getting the stack. So you will have to map the proper hardware. And then initial state. So what will be the initial state of this CAN transceiver channel? So in general, for any stack configuration, it will be normal state. The initial state of the transceiver will always be configured to normal. Unless and until you have some specific design related constraints and you want to have a different kind of implementation, you will have it as a different thing, but otherwise you will always set it to normal. And then you will need to configure how much is the maximum baud rate supported. So in that case, and then also we have to configure or tell the CAN transceiver whether for the respective channel, the wake up by the bus is supported or not. So if it is supported, yeah, you are expecting the respective CAN channel to support the wake up by bus, the bus wake up. So then you have to enable that option. And then when you enable this wake up by bus supported, then you will also need to tell what is the wake up source reference. So again, it will be coming from the ECM. So ECM will have the different wake up sources, and then you have to choose accordingly for the respective CAN channel. You have to configure the respective CAN wake up source. And then you will have to, there is also an option where the trans receiver, we can control the power supply. So if you want to have this feature enabled, yes, then you have to choose as, you have to select that as true. And if in case, if it is not handled by the trans receiver, it is handled by a different power management module in your ECU, then you need not select this option. And like I mentioned, the number of trans receiver channels you will be configuring is always based on the number of CAN channels, whatever you have in the ECU. And when it comes to the general configurations, you will have to again configure the main function periodicity. And again, here we will be configuring at the higher level whether the wake up is supported by the CAN trans receiver or not. So at least if one of the CAN trans receiver channels needs to support the wake up, then obviously you have to select this option. If none of the CAN trans receiver channels need to support the wake up, then you need not enable this option. So now we have seen CAN driver and the CAN trans receiver. Now let's assume these two are ready for us, and our next thing will be the CAN NM. So next thing is ideally CANIF, but yeah, before going to CANIF, we will have a look at CAN NM, and CANIF is a little bit bigger. So I have, for time's sake, I have put it in the later point of the slides. Somebody was trying to ask me a question. Okay, then let me continue. So next thing is the CAN network manager. Network manager is responsible for the coordination of transition between the normal mode and the sleep mode. So any bus will have the normal mode, sleep mode, okay, the normal communication mode and the sleep mode. So Arvind, you want to ask some question?
Is this slide would be available after this session?
Yeah, I will be sharing the slides as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, let's continue. So with respect to the CAN NM, so this NM module is the responsible for the transition between the normal mode and the sleep modes. So like I think most of us, we know it. Okay. So in general, what CAN NM module will be doing. So in any ECU, will have the general NM module, and we will have the bus specific NM modules. For example, in case of CAN, it will be CAN NM, and then in case of LIN, I have seen two types of things. One thing is kind of LIN NM, and sometimes the LIN NM will be taken care by the LINIF module itself. So these are the two types of configurations I've seen. So let us now talk on the CAN NM. So we are talking about the bus specific NM module, which will be responsible for handling the transition between the normal mode and the sleep mode of the respective bus communication. So coming to the configuration part, what we will have the configurations. So configurations, we first need to enable the communication control enable to enable or disable the NM message transmission. So first thing is, so again, the NM channels is again number of NM channels is based on how many kind of NM implementations are there in your respective project. So if you are having for multiple CAN channels, then you will have to configure the CAN NM channel configurations for each of these channels. Let's say 4, if you have 4 channels, and for all the 4 channels you want to have the NM implementation, then you will have to configure 4 CAN NM channels. And for each NM channel, the first basic thing is the communication control is enabled or not. Okay, where we can control the NM message transmission. If you don't want NM message transmission, yeah, we can disable this. And then again, when you're transmitting the NM message, whether you want the node ID to be transmitted or not. Okay, that is again the next configuration which you have to do. And then you will have to configure the remote sleep indication time, repeat message time, and then wait bus sleep time. So these are all generally the time allocated, okay, for each of these transitions. So you will have to configure these things, and you will get this information based on your system requirements. Okay, there are no standard values. So how long you want to wait and how long you want to do this, it is all specific to your respective project, and you have to get it from your system design. Okay, so and then we have the network handle reference. Okay, so what is this network handle reference is, whenever we are having this NM implementation, Okay, generally the communication, we have a module called communication manager, COMM. Okay, so this guy will be handling this. So we'll have to now create a connection or a reference between this CAN NM respective channel configuration to the respective COMM channel. So these are the basic configuration parameters once you want to configure the NM module for the CAN. Okay, so now like CAN NM, we have also the CAN state manager. Okay, basically the state manager is responsible, or it will implement the CAN bus control flow. So it will be handling the different states. So it will be controlling the different states of the CAN bus. Okay, and then it is also responsible for the startup and shutdown feature. So when you are trying to start a particular bus, or you are trying to shut down a particular bus, so you will be what we call doing it with the help of this CAN SM module. So with respect to the configuration, so what are the different critical parameters in CAN SM? So whenever you are talking about the CAN SM as a module, so the first thing what you have to configure is the bus of recovery counter. Okay, so BOR is nothing but the bus of recovery. So whenever there is the bus off happens, so you will have to think about, okay, how we will be recovering. Okay, so how the ECU will be recovering. So there you will have certain parameters called, you will have a counter to check, okay, how much time is the bus off is happening, and then you will have timing values to be configured for. There are two things: long recovery time, which we call it as level 2, and short recovery time, which we'll call it as level 1. Okay, and you have to configure these timings respectively, the counter value, and then what should be the long recovery time value, what should be the short recovery time value, and what is the time duration between these two, the short recovery time and the long recovery time. So these are the important parameters which you will have to configure for the CAN SM. And then, like we have spoken in the CAN NM module, here again it will ask for the network handle reference. Again, you have to give it to the respective COMM channel. And again, you will have here the CAN SM will also have a reference to the respective transceiver. So like we have seen in the previous modules, so it's again depends on total number of channels, CAN channels in your project or in your ECU. So you will have the similar number of CAN SM channel configurations here. So here again, you will, for each of the things, you will be again giving the transceiver reference. And next thing is the controller ID. So again, you will have the CANIF. In CANIF, you will be configuring the controller IDs for each channel. So that reference from CANIF is also mapped in this configuration. So in general, these are the basic configurations which you will be coming across if you are configuring the CAN SM module. And in the general parameters, again, you will have how the bus off begin and the end notifications. Okay, so you will have the notification functions which you can mention here. So CAN SM, whenever there is a bus off beginning and bus off is ending, so it will be calling these respective functions, and inside that you can have your own implementations. So these are like kind of notification functions which can be used to know whether the bus off has begun or not. And again, you will have to configure the main function periodicity, the CAN SM main function periodicity. So these are the basic things which you will have to configure when you are configuring the CAN SM module. Next thing is the CANIF. So CANIF is the kind of module with lot of parameters to be configured, and basically this is coming from the kind of interface module, so which is from the ECU abstraction layer. So here you will have the actual abstraction, okay, the PDU related abstraction, and then you will be seeing how you are giving this value to the service layer of the different CAN PDUs and all those things. So here the configuration parameters for the CANIF module are little bit more. So now the time is already 35. Yeah. Okay, so we'll be stopping the session at 10:45 my time, and then you will receive the new meeting request. Okay, so let me continue with the CANIF. So CANIF, what is this responsible for, or what does the CANIF module does? So CANIF module is responsible for handling the transmit request. So whenever there is a PDU transmit, a request from the upper level layer, okay, or the CAN, for example, wants to transmit, again the transmit confirmation is also the one which is handled by the CANIF module. Then again, reception indication, RX indication. So whenever a PDU is being received by the ECU, so again the scanf module will give the indication as an RX indication, and then you will have the controller mode control and then PDU mode control. So in the PDU, so the different modes of the PDUs and the controller level mode controls will be part of the CANIF. So we'll go just look into the configuration parameters. So the first thing in the CANIF configuration is the controller driver configuration. So it's again the basic number of CAN channels in your application or your ECU is again the total number of CAN controller driver configurations we have to configure. And there here we will be giving the references to the CAN driver and the CAN transceiver. Okay. And for each of these CAN channels, we will have to select if the wake up support is needed and whether it supports a dynamic address. So for example, in case of J1939 protocol, you will have the possibility to configure the dynamic address support. So whether you have the J1939 support needed in your project or not, based on that, you have to select whether yes or no for this. And the next thing will be the controller transceiver configuration. So here what we will be giving is for each of the CAN controllers, whatever we have configured, we have to give the reference to the respective CAN transceiver. And then you will have the transceiver ID, okay, and then whether again, for example, if you need wake up support for the respective transceiver or not, so that will be configured here. So, and the next thing is the dispatch. So generally here the CANIF module does the job of dispatching, okay, dispatching the data. So here we will be configuring the mapping of the upper layer modules. Okay, for example, in the CANIF, whenever the data has to be transmitted, to whom it will be giving the data, whether it will give the information to CAN-SM in general, that will be the general practice in any project. But in case of, for example, special implementations or special conditions, if you are configuring a CDD module, where you will be handling the indications, for example, whenever there is a control bus off indication or control mode, there is a change in the user control mode, where is a change in the transceiver mode indication. So all these indications will be given to either CAN-SM for handling the bus related things, or it can also be diverted to a CDD module. There you can implement your own functionality irrespective of the standard CAN-SM implementation from the AUTOSAR. So you can also implement your own CDD module on how it is based on how you want to handle your different situations or states. And the next main important configuration is the initial configuration. So initial configuration is about like we have to configure the buffer configurations for each of the CAN channels. So what do you mean by buffer configuration is the buffer size and the max length supported, and then hardware transmit handle reference things. For example, we will have HTH transmit handle references and the HRH. Okay, so here we will have the next thing is you will see it in, okay, just give me, okay, I'm talking about this part. So configuration of HTH and HRH. Okay, so here you will have the transmit handle reference. There you will again have to give the buffer handling. So, okay, so again, how do you want to handle the buffers? So you want to handle the buffers based on the CAN ID based priority or first in first out, or you need not select any buffer handling so that it will automatically be taken care. Okay, so these are the configuration parameters for the initial configuration. And the next one thing will be the hardware object handle configuration. Okay, so here in the hardware object handle configuration, you have two things. One thing is the HTH and the second thing is the HRH. Okay, hardware transmit handle, hardware receive handle. So for each channel, for example, if you have CAN channel 1, so you will have the CAN channel HTH and CAN channel HRH. Okay, and how this respective communication needs to be handled, okay, for transmit and for receiving. So here we'll have to configure this hardware object handle configuration, and here we'll be giving the control ID reference. Again, that will be coming from the CANIF reference. We have already configured the control ID, so you'll get it from the CANIF, and the symbolic reference will be the CAN driver reference. Okay, so again we'll be mapping the respective HTH or the HRH objects which we have configured for the respective CAN channel configured in the CAN driver module. That will be the symbolic reference. And for the control ID reference, it will be the CANIF reference, whatever we have configured the CAN channels, CANIF channels. So that will be the reference here. And the next main thing is, yes, in our communication, we'll have RX PDUs as well as the TX PDUs. So for RX PDUs, we will have, see, RX PDU configuration is like here we'll have to configure the CAN ID type, for example, for each of the RX PDU, you will have to do this configuration. Okay, generally this will be configured as as a part of our ECU communication extract or the DBC files. So otherwise, if you have to configure or do it manually, so these are the parameters which we'll have to configure. Okay, so we'll have to give the respective CAN ID and what is the type of the CAN ID, whether it's a standard CAN or extended CAN, FD CAN, all those things, standard FD CAN, standard with no FD CAN, all those things. You have to configure the what is the type of the CAN ID. And then you want the data length check to be enabled or not, you have to give it. Okay, and then you have, here we have configured the HRH related things because it's a receive RX PDU configuration. You will have the HRH reference. For TX configuration, okay, you can give the HTH, which may not be a definite or compulsory parameter to be configured in some of the stacks. And then you will have the respective PDU ID. So this CAN ID is generally nothing but it is specific to a CAN bus, and the respect to each PDU will have a different PDU ID. And then you will have to give the PDU reference. So where do you get this PDU reference is from the ECUC module. So ECUC module will contain the list of all the PDUs irrespective of whatever is the type of the PDU, whether it is RX or TX or it's a network PDU or whatever is the PDU, all the PDUs will be listed first in the ECUC. So you will be giving the reference to your RX PDU in the CANIF module to the ECUC PDU reference. And then if you want to have an RX indication, obviously you will need a RX indication. So in such cases, you will be mentioning the what is the RX indication function name, and then the upper module. So who is the upper module to receive this PDU, respective PDU? It can be PDU or it can be CAN-NM, CAN-TP, can be a CDD module, XCP or application or a CCP module. Okay, so here you will be telling for the respective PDU what will be the upper layer, to which module it will be handled to or given to. And the next thing is similarly for the TX PDUs, like the transmit PDUs, you will have to configure the CAN ID type, like we discussed standard CAN, extended CAN, FD CAN, standard FD CAN. Okay, similarly standard without FD and all those things. Next thing again, you can also enable data length check, and then whenever you are enabling the data length check, you will also give the data length. What is the data length? For example, if it is 8 bytes of data, then you will ask to check whether is always the coming data is of 8 bytes or not. Okay, and then you will have the respective PDU ID, again the PDU reference from the ECUC reference. And for TX, we'll have the TX confirmation. For RX, we'll have the RX indication. So in case of TX confirmation, then you will have to give the confirmation function name, and then again who is the upper module. And then in case of TX PDUs, we will also need to give the reference for the TX PDU buffer. So in case of buffering, okay, you will have to configure the TX PDU buffer, so to enable proper communication. So, and CANIF has also something called as private and public configurations. So again, you can refer for the AUTOSAR standard CANIF module. You will see this information. So there are different parameters which can be configured as a part of private and public. We have filter types, we have TX buffer types, we have data length check, again global control. So you can enable or disable the data length check for all the PDUs from this single option. And then we can support handle type enum. So whether it used to be whether the uint tight or uint 16 or what type of enums need to be configured, it can handle. So this can be configured in the private and public configurations. So with this, I will stop this session. So I will send you one new meeting request for the WebEx. So you can get the information from there. So